she's a mountain, then you're an ocean.
Hi, everybody. This is Lori, and I am the founder and CEO of a company called Inclusivity, also the author of a new book, You Can Save the World. In fact, you're the only one who can. And this is our podcast, Inclusivi-TALKS Sustainability. And on the podcast, we talk with people who are making the world better, people who are creative and doing things to help us all sustain. So to create that future where everyone thrives. And today we are very fortunate to have with us Mary, how do you pronounce your last name, Mary?
Gooden.
Gooden? That's what I thought, but I didn't want to say it wrong. So
Okay.
Mary Gooden, who is an author and she has a publishing house. She is a yoga instructor and many other things. So Mary, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Lori. Thanks for having me. I do appreciate it.
So Mary, I just want to start by asking you to tell us a little bit about where you are right now, and then we'll go back and talk about how you got here and some of your dreams and passions for the future.
So on this present day, where I am, literally, I am in New Orleans, and I share my time between New Orleans and Sedona, Arizona. I am CEO and founder of Divine Destiny Publishing, as well as Yoga, etc., where I really help conscious visionaries, leaders, and coaches become best-selling authors to expand their business and their brand, as well as sharing their inspiration with the world. And as an alignment coach, flows into yoga, etc., I do host spiritual retreats in Sedona, Arizona, and the latest in Mount Shasta, California, coming up at the end of August. So who I am is really, my mission is to empower others so they may fully embrace their soul's mission, divine destiny. In that, maybe we could label all kinds of things, but really I'm just here to serve love on purpose.
That is a wonderful reason to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you a question because I'm afraid I'll forget it, and then I want to go back and talk a little bit about your history. But why multi-author books? Tell me a little bit about how you got into publishing multi-author books.
I will tell you, it probably flows along into the story of how I arrived, but it came across about a year ago. A friend of mine she also has a publishing company, and she had asked if I would contribute a personal chapter. And I had not really ever been a writer per se. I've written a lot of guided meditations, but I had not been a writer. But I knew that my biggest ask, the biggest thing that I wanted to expand in was global visibility, was actually getting out and serving my mission on a much larger platform. And so she asked, the timeline was with 2 weeks, and not being a writer, I still said yes, because I knew that God, divine source, I knew that the nuggets were coming in for a reason. And so I said yes. And that was just shy of a year ago today. I've been in 2 #1 international bestsellers. The second one was geared towards how I help others or lead others to their soul discovery or recovery by the modalities of yoga, meditation, breath work, and what have you. And so that was it. It was my calling to step up, what I like to say, show up and shine. And really, it just led into this year starting my own publishing company, because I know that I'm here to serve on that level. I'm a bold and fearless leader, and I know that that is one way to collaborate women or people or inspirational, transformational coaches and get them together, because we're more powerful as a group.
Oh, so true.
Competition is an old paradigm. Collaboration, that's where we're quantum leaping. That's where we're meeting the masses, and we're divinely guided really by the collective. And so, did that help?
Oh, that's wonderful. And I love that, because our belief is exactly the same. At Inclusivity, we believe that it's all of us, that alone we can do great things, together we can do the thing. Like we can save the world together. And so I love that mission. It speaks to me perfectly. Tell me again, I want to ask another question so I don't forget. Tell me, what does it entail to have your own publishing house? What does that mean?
So I have what I like to call my publishing concierge. There's about 3 or 4 of us. But I do, they do the back end, the formatting and the editing. I do all the front line. I engage with clients. I hold a space for my clients, and I get to engage and interview and lead and encourage and do all the part that I actually came here to do, which is to help people uncover who they came here to be and to share it with the world.
Lovely.
And what it entails basically is helping, coaching others, guidelines on how to write their chapter, encouraging them to really take the layers off, and show us who they are. Cover designs, all the things that you could ever imagine as far as the publishing, and all those things are all inclusive. We make it really easy to add that style of credibility, to add that style of visibility, and to monetize your mission. Really, it's streamlined and simple.
Very
For
nice.
me, it means collaboration. For me, it means calling in my soul clients, my soul friends. For me, it's part of the big mission that I said I would do, and it's beautiful. When you do what you're led to do, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Magic.
So tell us a little bit about how you got here. I'd like to start with the first time in your life that you can remember being in some way called.
So I've always been awake in some sense. I've always been different, and I know now, looking back, that there's a lot of old soul energy in me. I have always been intuitive, and in fact, I think that it was probably one of the shadows that I guess I covered myself up because I thought that it was interesting and odd. um, I believe the biggest transformational piece, I spent 20 years in a corporate job consulting and managing a multi-million-dollar company. And I was really at the top of what I like to call societal success. And I was managing a family, and I was managing a household, and I was just, the most empowered masculine female that you could ever imagine. And I realized one day that I was just not satisfied.
Yeah.
I had everything, and I was just not satisfied. And I started coaching exercise, which put me out in front of people, ideally really that needed healing, that needed help, that needed something. And I gave myself, or kind of received that empowering voice through fitness coaching. And it just really started to the level that I decided to go part-time in my corporate career. And later, within about a year and a half, I was guided to sell everything that I had and move down to New Orleans and rest and receive. And my sister and I had bought a gym, a really small gym in a small town. And it was time to eliminate my distraction so that I could be a clear vessel. And so that's when really I had the yoga modality has been with me almost 20 years now as well. But the Reiki modality, all these modalities of holistic healing and ways of serving others to help them find their way. They had been coming in even in my corporate life, but I was distracted, right? It was an exercise. It wasn't a state of mind. And so it is, and so it be. But what is really coming through too is if I can know how to take care of me, and I can create priority around that, it's very easy for me to create the priority around caring for the world, for saving the world. Yeah. If I first can do it for me, I can authentically and very easily do it for society, for the world,
Yeah.
for the planet.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time, that in order to create a sustainable future, we have to start with ourselves.
Mm.
And that means good self care. It means noticing how you're feeling and recognizing that. And it means paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if I want to take care of you, I have to take care of me first. If I want to take care of the trees, I have to take care of me first.
Mm-hmm.
So, I really love that that's part of your practice. Mary, as you look back to being a child,
Mm-hmm.
can you see sort of, and I understand that you always knew that there was something, but can you see places that was reinforced or discouraged by others? And can you also see sort of how that awakening happened with you?
I can see that my parental guides, we'll call them, my mother, but really the parental guides. I can see that my mother was very much an inspiration behind it all. Not that she would come and say, "Are you?" I just could see now the way that the freedom, the way that she lived
Mhm.
was so much so that I could expand and be whoever I wanted to be. Um, I wouldn't say that there was coaching along the way, but I spent a lot of time in isolation and just listening to the voices,
Mhm.
and doing the things that I was guided, even as young as 7 or 8, just listening and doing or saying or being the way that I was guided to be, not in an aggressive way at all, more in a just a really meek and passive form. I did what I felt I was called to do. I was very kind and loving to others. In fact, as an empath, you know that oftentimes we will surround ourselves or attract those that are desperately in need of encouragement. Um, and oftentimes it will be a very hurtful time for us as the empath, because those people will just come around when they need something.
Right.
um, but I did get married at an early age, and I did move at an early age, and it wasn't to get away.
Mhm.
It was to
To
arrive.
be.
Mhm.
Okay.
I was 17 when I left home, and and again, it wasn't that I had any conflicts with
Mhm.
my parents at all. It was time. I was ready, and I hit the ground running. I did a lot of things. Again, the society is really creates a lot of pressure behind the success, especially I'm almost 45, especially with the feminine and the success of female leaders, really just go, go, go. Yeah, but as a child, things were so magical. I keep, and I ran into this earlier on an interview I was doing this week. I just keep always seeing childhood. My sister had a shirt that she would always wear with a star and a rainbow.
Yeah.
And I always remember, I can put myself there again now, feeling the magic of that,
Yeah.
feeling the magic of being a star, being colorful, being creative, being exactly who I came here to be.
Yeah. It is one of the wonderful things about childhood, and it is one of the things that if when often we can track back and see where that light was sort of extinguished or what happened to make us push it down. And
Hmm.
I think as adults, when we can come back into that and see the world as magic, and I absolutely believe in magic. I think there is magic all around us in every interaction and sunbeam. I think that there is magic, and I think when we can come back to that, it just feels so good.
Hmm.
It just
Hmm.
feels so good.
It
So
does.
tell us a little bit about right now what you are working on. You've told us a little, but sort of a bigger context of what you're planning, what your hopes are, what your goals are.
So I love that question. I know that kind of in different levels, I'm always approached with that question. And literally, I just awaken and I do my morning prayer and meditation, and it really is just show me the way today. I am open to receive guidance on whatever level. I am working on using uh, the multi-author book projects, not using them, but creating inspiration in the world on a global level. And so I know that's a huge part of my life right now,
Yeah.
Helping people step up or quantum leap into the next level of their journey. I also do that by hosting retreats in Sedona and Mount Shasta of just helping people uncover that really bright light of love that is within them. If we can bring them all back to that place of unconditional being, and I know that's probably, like I said, the biggest part of my mission is if I can allow people and create a space where they can shed the layers to reveal that light and hold it open. I know that I'm serving. I know that I'm here to create that lasting change. I have also been guided, and I've been doing this for the last 2 years, to heal the land. And right here now, I'm healing land in New Orleans by meditating with trees. And this is not an offering. It's oftentimes my husband will come out with me just because he's such a wonderful and amazing support in my life. But and I will go meditate with the trees. I'll put my hands on them. I will bring crystals. I will give them sound baths, different layers of meditating with the trees because their roots expand far and wide, and their leaves also dropping and blowing and flowing. So, in that, just saying it at the biggest level, whatever it is that I'm called to do to help the collective heal and show up.
Mary, if you sort of peel down for you sort of all the layers and find the root of your passion, what you believe, the root of all of this, what is that? How would you describe that?
It's
What?
just love.
Okay.
Love, love, love. It's everything that I teach. It's everything that I hear coming out of me, is coming back to me and being the unconditional love that I wish to see in the world.
It's a pretty good passion and a pretty good root.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you were talking to younger people, which I'm sure you do, what advice, what sort of guidance would you give to someone younger who's coming up and just trying to find their way in the world?
That is very easy because I have a 15 and an 18-year-old daughter. And so it is. Feel trust that you can come and be the person that you came here to be. Really trust in yourself wholeheartedly, and awareness. Don't I work on a lot of that as I come from a separated marriage or a divorce marriage, but give yourself permission and invite yourself every day to be the person that you came here to be, um, without judgment. And I've been talking to my daughters for the last really 10 years about that, without judgment.
Yeah.
See what is in front of you and always look for the magic and the beauty.
That's pretty good advice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Mary, if you were sort of thinking about creativity in particular, obviously you're very creative, but if you had to talk about the role of creativity in your life, because I think creativity and sustainability are intimately linked. Mm-hmm. I think that as we try to live sustainable lives, we are constantly weaving creativity into that. But I'd like to know from you, how do you view creativity in your life? What does that mean to you?
such a fun question because I also did a podcast on creativity a few weeks ago.
Wonderful.
Creativity to me is showing up and shining is who I came here to be,
Mhm.
and again inviting the magic. Um, being lighthearted, being excited, choosing and remembering that you get to choosing happiness, choosing love, choosing light, choosing positivity. But again, it really is the same platform to me. Creativity defined to me is showing up and being everything that you came here to be with no regret and complete freedom and ease, really.
Mhm.
Not, I don't know, ever profess to say that that's an easy way
Right.
to come at things, but it can be if you decide for it to be. I'm just going to be me today. And I'm just going to allow myself to have fun, to use the word fun and to use the word play. And also, one thing that I always like to do if I want to find my most creative energy is I just come to a childlike state because nobody says that I can't.
So tell me how you do that. For
I
someone who says, I can't even imagine doing that,
right.
tell
I
me
just
how you do it.
drop back into to the freedom that we were given as a child.
Mhm.
Even just closing your eyes and recognizing the very positive moments in your life. Um, seeing yourself outside when you were a kid playing outside. I can't say that everybody's experience was positive 150% of the time, but there is always something positive and magical that has happened. And yes, some of us has chosen to bury it. But come back to that place. Come to a place where nothing matters. Nothing matters. It doesn't matter if I want to go outside and dance in the rain. Nothing's going to happen. A lot of times when I'm feeling a little stifled or stagnant, I'll go out and I'll walk barefoot outside.
Mhm.
I'll just get out there barefoot. I'll take the grass, I'll take the concrete, I'll take the little rock pebbles and remind myself that I am present and breathing and living. And that is magic in itself. Um, the other thing that is fun that's coming through, advisable for that, is color a picture
Mhm.
or draw a picture. Draw a picture of a tree and on the base what supports you or what supported you in your life or what you want to support you, words, phrases, mantras. And then draw some balloon, some angels up there, a big sunshine. Color. Get colorful, get
Mhm.
creative. Get some crayons. I did that a few months ago out. I just went outside and I colored a picture of where I wanted to go, what it looked like,
Mhm.
and what did I need at the base to support me to get to make these butterflies and these balloons and these in this sunshine come alive.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
Beautiful. Another exercise I do with myself regularly is literally just look around and allow myself to be amazed by how beautiful everything is. So allow myself to notice the color of the sky and that I can't mimic that color, and to notice the intricacies of a bug, or to notice the grass. And I think that for me, that awe, that sense of awe, that this is amazing, brings me back to childhood. Just that wide-eyed, I can't believe I get to be here.
Right.
This is the space I occupy. How incredible is that? And I think if we can remember that, it's part of remembering how blessed we are, and remembering what a magnificent place this is, in spite of all the issues, in
Hmm.
spite of all the things that we're trying to change. This is a beautiful place.
Hmm. And those issues and circumstances and surroundings and chaos
Mhm.
are all still energy too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't have to play into the aggressiveness of
Mhm.
all that what, again, I like to call society is offer. Remember that you still get to make the choice of how you're going to show up every morning. And with the bright eyes, if you want it to be, or with the cloudy grin, you make that choice every day. Because if you do, get present, like you said, Lori, and just open your eyes, it's awe and magic that to believe that we are living, breathing human beings with the ability to so much expansion and opportunity. Even if it's just changing the way I think, I'm expanding and there's an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Choosing to be happy or choosing to be aware.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Mary, what have we not talked about that you would like to talk with us about? In a minute, I'm going to ask you to tell us a story from your life. Because I feel like stories just tell us something about each other when we hear what the other person chooses to tell and also what the story is about. But before that, I'd like to ask if there's anything we haven't talked about that you would like to cover.
I feel as though we've covered most things that you would want to really know or feel about me.
Okay.
As far as that is concerned, I wear a lot of hats, and I'm just so blessed to have all the opportunities that surround me. And part of it is me making the choice to see them with full, wide, childlike eyes.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So then I would ask you to tell us a story from your life. And I'd like to preface this by saying it doesn't have to be the story. It doesn't have to have a lesson. It can, but it also can be about you. We had someone tell a story about trying to fry an egg on the sidewalk as a child. And we've also had people tell stories about literally a religious or spiritual awakening that they had. So it runs the gamut. The only requirement is that it is yours and it feels like yours.
Yes. I feel so inclined to talk about as a whole for me. We can call it one of the biggest transformations and awakenings of my life is I remember I was invited to go to South Lake Tahoe one winter skiing for the first time. And I remember seeing a dear soul friend of mine, a Reiki a Reiki healer, and she did some healing for me just before I left. And she said, "This is the biggest transformation of your life, and so allow it." And I was opening the week upon 1 week later to my arrival back here in New Orleans. I was opening my yoga studio. And so I thought, this is what's happening. So we flew in, and I was just so excited to have this transformation, to see this awakening, to be there. And so I arrived, and as you would know, my ego was like, well, what day is it? And when is it? And what is it? And to shorten it as much as possible, we are so divinely guided. I found myself in a yoga studio, and I met a woman, and she told me about her little shop that she had. And I said, "Oh, I'll come visit, but right now after class, I need to walk down to the lake because I've been asked by a healer to go and sail my ship." And so I was guided there, and I walked through the snow about 15 minutes and down, and I arrived at the mouth of it was mesmerizing. And wouldn't you know that nobody was there? There was just a small piece of driftwood. Sit down. I've been waiting for this awakening. And I'm like, wait, sit down. And so in those moments I sat, and I did. I sailed my ship of my divorce. I sailed everything that had happened to me in gratitude and love. And I left after that. It was beautiful. I decided to head towards the shop and meet my new friend and see what she had. And there was only one parking spot, and it was right in front of a crystal healer place, crystals and healing. And this woman came when I was parking in the one spot, and I felt terrible. Like, you can't park here, Mary, because you're not going into her shop. And then she was like waving me in. And I just thought, oh, you can't park here, because I wasn't intending on going in. Uh, so anyway, I walked down and I spent 2 hours with my new friend Melina in her shop, and I ended up with some labradorite, which I didn't know at the time, which is all about life transformation.
Okay.
Literally, I put a necklace on and I couldn't take it off, so I bought it. And then I walked down and I thought, let me go in this woman's shop so I could alleviate the shame and guilt of taking a parking spot. And as my day continued to be transformative, I ended up having a healing session with this woman, and she wasn't waving me in. She had 2 doors to her shop, and a mouse or something had died, she said, between the 2, and she was trying to wave out the smell. She did a beautiful healing session on me. She shared so much information. She visualized me as a phoenix. I knew that I was emerging. 3 days later, my grand opening to the yoga studio. The day before I left, I met my current husband. It was the most magical time. I came back. He, not then my husband, I had just met him once before. We had lunch. He spent the whole day at my grand opening, and my life, just as my Reiki healer had told me, had been completely transformed. And so the expansion, the ever expanding life has just kept and kept. To finish that, I did have to close my yoga studio due to COVID. But within the week that I wrote the letter to my clients, the condo in Sedona showed up. And so it was this, if the universe was trading out one level of coaching to another. And so I ended up buying a condo in the same week that I had to close my yoga studio. Life is magical.
Life is
if
magical.
We allow it to be. And recognize that when we're asking for something or praying for something because of the greater vision that we have, don't think that it's going to come in exactly the way that you think it's going to come in. Be open to seeing every nugget that drops in, every experience. Be open and aware and see how it fits into the big picture, because that's the same way that my publishing house came in. It's the same way when I wrote my first chapter in a multi-author book, and I said, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I know that I'm supposed to. And now I'm leading others. If I wouldn't have done it, I wouldn't have known how to start the publishing. I wouldn't have been following my path. Say yes. Just say yes. You've got nothing to lose.
I think that is a beautiful way to end. That's exactly it. Say yes. And follow those feelings and trust them, because I think when you don't, you miss out on glorious, magical, incredible opportunities, and opportunities that make the whole world better. Because what will heal the world, in my opinion, is when we are all living our true selves, when we are all comfortable and open in that is what heals the world.
So true. So true. So aligned with who I am. Yes.
Mary, what a beautiful podcast. Thank you so much for being here. It was really a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you so much, Lori. I appreciate the invitation, and it was also very much a pleasure to talk to you. So thank you.
And for everyone who's listening, this was Inclusivi-TALKS. Our guest today was Mary Gooden, and we are so thankful for her, and we'll be back with another episode.